Hey guys, it's Daryl. Just started my workout. I just downloaded that first video about America, the greatest country on earth, and I hope I made my point. I know I ramble sometimes. Um, I believe it's a great country. I believe we have to constantly strive to be great. I guess that sums it up. But I wanted to say more on the subject. What came to mind, I always rewatch my videos to make sure they make some sense. And what came to mind was Trump and his latest assertion that as long as he's president, Iran won't have a nuclear weapon. Now, I understand why he says this. Again, it goes right back to what I said in my last video about as soon as that bomb went off, I'm sure it occurred to everyone there and a lot of people that sooner or later, it's not going to just be our little weapon, our little advantage. That sooner or later, it will spread to our enemies, to everybody. And then too, Oppenheimer said, "I have become death, destroyer of worlds." Originally, it's a Hindu from a Hindu god, Bhagavad Gita, a Hindu god. Excuse me, I can't pronounce that name. So I started thinking about Trump and trying to keep the nuclear weapons out of Iranian hands, which I mean I could understand. I can understand the fear of an Islamic, a very hardcore Islamic state like that. And not just an Islamic, it's not that it's an Islamic state, but that it borders on fanaticism at times, I think. I think that's more the point, not the religion itself. I think that any fanaticism, it could be dangerous, like Christianity. And if you take it to fanaticism, it gets illogical. It becomes hypocritical, I think, when you take things to that extreme. Anyway, the destroyer of worlds, I have become death, and I started thinking about that. So and Trump keeping this nuclear weapons out of the hands of North Korea, out of the hands of Iran, and how would you go about doing that? Is it even possible? We're not the only ones. Again, goes back to me saying that we're not the only ones that have it. It's not necessarily up to us. It could be given to them. The technology, or just an atomic bomb, could be given to them. Then what? What would Trump's options be at that point? Military force, possibly using one of our nuclear weapons to take away their nuclear weapons. And it was funny because that Hindu saying, "I have become death, destroyer of worlds," becomes even more relevant. Here we are trying to keep this extreme bomb that can destroy a world out of the hands of other people. We're so frightened of what we've created that we're willing to use that same exact bomb on them to keep them from having it. I don't know. I find the whole thing scary, ironic, inevitable, I guess. And what other choices would Trump have? I believe if we found that Iran had a nuclear weapon or one or more active nuclear weapons, I don't think sanctions would be an option. I believe it would be. When Trump says that, I believe he's talking about extreme military force. It would be a panic. It'd be a panic again and again. It goes all back to that very first day when that first bomb went off. It must have been the right after the joy of achieving the goal. There must have been a fear right after that, because look what you've created, and it's not going to be in your hands forever. It's inevitable. I think I do. So when I hear Trump saying this, that as long as he's president, Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. I don't know. I'm sure he'll try to stick to that. I don't think it's necessarily up to him. And then on top of that, I just see the irony, the scary irony of the the what we would go to using our own weapons of death to keep them from getting weapons of death. The whole thing seems a little scary, you know? And again, I don't think that phrase, "I've become death, destroyer of worlds," I don't think it's ever been more relevant. That man truly was a genius. And wherever that initial quote came from, the Hindu god Bhagavad Gita, that was I think it's become a very relevant, it probably will become even more relevant in the future. Just a thought today. All right, you guys have a good Saturday.